The old lady with little pension is just a nuisance. We'll give her to you. We don't have time to live with her.
My eldest brother and his wife, who had said to his mother who had raised him as a single parent and took over the family home, treated her so badly. I couldn't leave my mother in their care any longer. I shouted, "I'm happy to take care of her," and held my mother's hand. But my mother was not just a nuisance. My name is Mia. I'm a 39-year-old housewife. I married my husband after an office romance and have been blessed with a son and a daughter. We live happily together. My parents-in-law are also good people, and we have a good relationship with them. I'm worried about my mother's situation. She raised 3 children alone after divorcing when I was young. I only realized how difficult it was after having 2 children of my own. I don't have the confidence to raise 2 children alone if I were to divorce my husband. I'm grateful to my mother who raised me and my 2 brothers so well. My mother has also grown very old. She worked until she was 65 years old, so even though she is in her 70s now, she is still healthy and strong. However, it's sad to see her getting older every time I see her. She still lives alone in her home, but I'm starting to worry about her future. One day, my mother called me. "What? Michael is going to live with you?"
Yeah, Michael suggested it. What do you think about it?
Michael is my eldest brother. It's not strange for him to live with his mother. Normally, I should be grateful that he is willing to live with our elderly mother. However, I can't be happy about my eldest brother because he hated our mother. When my parents divorced, I was only 3 years old, so I don't have many memories of my father. However, my brother was 10 years old and on the verge of adolescence. Perhaps that's why he resents our mother. I remember him complaining that he had to leave his beloved father and that his standard of living had dropped, and he couldn't buy what he wanted. But that's not fair. The reason for the divorce was my father's infidelity, and he didn't pay child support after the first year. I can understand my brother's feelings to some extent, but it's not right to hate our mother even as an adult. My brother never comes home, not even during the New Year, Thanksgiving, or any other occasion. He doesn't live far away from mother's home, only about a 10-minute drive. My brother is married, but it seems he didn't even give a greeting when he got married. He doesn't have any children and is free to do as he pleases, but he still doesn't visit our mother's home properly and is estranged from me and my younger brother. Come to think of it, I can't remember what my sister-in-law looks like. In fact, I wonder what my brother is like now. When was the last time I saw him? That brother of mine proposed living with our mother. I have a bad feeling about this. Why did he suddenly suggest living together?
It's because his lease is up. But he says he's having a hard time because of the bad economy and his salary has been cut. That's why he wants to live together.
What? That's entirely for his own convenience. I'm so exasperated. After all, my brother is still my brother. If it was for the sake of my mother, I would have been okay with them living together. But it's not right to do it just to secure their own living arrangements. I'm completely against it. However, it's up to my mother to decide. What do you want to do, Mom?
It's nice to be alone, but it's becoming inconvenient for me in many ways. And yesterday, Michael and his wife came to visit me.
What? Really?
Michael apologized for everything he's done wrong and said he wants to take care of me from now on. He begged me desperately to let him do it.
What? That's surprising.
Yes, it is. He used to hate me so much, but I'm happy now.
I wonder if my brother has grown up. If so, then it should be okay. So, my mother and my brother's family started living together. As far as I know from my mother's regular updates, there were no problems with the cohabitation at first. My brother and his wife seemed to be acting meek while maintaining my mother's living rights. However, the truth was soon revealed.
His wife is cold to me.
My mother complained on the phone. Her call quickly turned into a complaint.
Jennifer, Michael's wife, is a housewife, but she doesn't do anything. She doesn't clean or do laundry.
What? Not even for you?
I used to do it myself. But Michael and his wife put their laundry in my basket and expect me to do it for them.
Don't they help you?
No. It's weird to take out their laundry and do only mine. So, the amount of laundry has increased, and my back hurts.
Do they do any other housework?
No.
According to what I've heard, my sister-in-law Jennifer lies on the sofa all day long. She eats snacks while watching TV and doesn't even clean up after herself. She doesn't go shopping or prepare meals. So, you're cleaning, shopping, and cooking for 3 people?
Yes.
What is that? Isn't that just freeloading instead of living together? It's worse than freeloading. Moreover, according to what I've heard, my brother and his wife don't pay for food or utilities. Really?
Yes.
I was so surprised that my mouth hung open. I asked why they didn't talk about it before they started living together, but my mother looked troubled and said,
We talked about it beforehand.
When they first started living together, my brother paid my mother the agreed amount. But it stopped soon after. Even if she asked for it indirectly.
I'm having a hard time this month because of the heavy expenses, and my salary has been cut.
He's not paying rent, utilities, or food expenses. Where is he spending his money?
By the way, he bought a car.
What? If he doesn't have money, he shouldn't buy one. It's not like he lives in an inconvenient place.
I paid for it.
You paid for it? I couldn't help but interject.
Michael said he would take me to the hospital and go shopping, but I haven't ridden in it yet.
I called my brother because it was so terrible, but he didn't answer. I realized he had blocked my calls. What the hell? A few days later, my mother called me again. This time,
Michael has been laid off and is unemployed.
it was no laughing matter. A few days after that, I called my mother, but she didn't answer. She didn't contact me either. I became worried and took the train after asking my husband to take care of my children. I would visit my mother's home more often if we lived closer, but my husband's job requires us to live far away. I visited my mother's home for the first time in a while after a 2-hour train ride. The house was much more run down than when I was a child. I rang the intercom, but there was no answer. I gently pushed the front door, and it opened without resistance. Someone must be home. But why wasn't anyone answering? Just as I was about to call out, I heard a groan. It was definitely my mother's voice. Mom? I called out. I rushed into her room and found her lying on the floor. Mom? I rushed to my mother and asked if she was okay. She opened her eyes. Mom, are you okay? I tried to call 911 and take out my phone, but my mother stopped me. Mom? I wanted to call for help, but my mother wouldn't let go of my hand. When I tried to pull my hand away, she mustered all her strength and said,
I am hungry.
Then she collapsed on the floor.
Thank you. I haven't eaten anything since yesterday.
My mother was eating the food I had bought for her with great enthusiasm. She was eating and kept eating incessantly. I was surprised by how quickly she devoured the food in front of me. Even at 70 years old, her appetite hasn't diminished. I wasn't interested in that at the moment. According to my mother, my brother and his wife left my mother, who couldn't move because of her back pain, alone and went out to play. They're not even thinking about Mom, I said angrily. Suddenly, I heard a noise from the entrance. My brother and his wife had returned home. Hey, what are you doing, leaving Mom alone with her back pain and going out?
Wow. I'm surprised. What's up, Mia? You've aged a lot since I last saw you.
Leave me alone. You've aged too.
What's going on? You're entering my house without permission.
Mom collapsed because she was hungry.
I don't know anything about that. Was there any instant food available?
I looked everywhere from the refrigerator to the storage, but there was nothing. You know Mom can't go shopping because of her back pain. What are you doing? I was getting angrier at my brother's attitude of not caring about our mother, but he didn't seem to care. He clicked his tongue in annoyance.
Shut up. You're not living with us, so you can say whatever you want.
I heard that Mom does everything around the house.
We're living together, so she has to do it.
I heard that your wife doesn't do any housework. Jennifer glared at me and clicked her tongue.
You're so annoying. We're living together, so it's only natural that she does it.
They're such a similar couple. You guys are getting along well. I didn't care about that. What's the point of living together if you're making Mom do everything?
We're here to make her feel safe in case of an emergency.
How can you say that? This is an emergency right now. I couldn't contain my anger, but my brother and his wife didn't seem to care. They just glared at me.
Shut up. Mom is just a nuisance because she's living on a small pension.
What? You bought a car with that small pension?
Of course. I'm the eldest son, so I have to take care of my mother.
When did you take care of her? I was so angry that my throat hurt from shouting. My brother, who was originally not close to our mother, had become a completely different person. It was so sad for our mother. Think more about Mom.
Shut up. You're just saying whatever you want.
My brother glared at me in frustration.
I thought we could live comfortably with Mom's pension if we lived together. I never expected that she would get so little.
My brother sighed and looked at my mother with cold eyes. She looked sad and downcast. My brother laughed and said,
A mother with no money is just a nuisance.
Hey, wait a minute.
If she's so important to you, I'll give her to you.
What? I couldn't believe it. I wanted to believe that he had some gratitude for our mother, even if he hated her. But my feelings were crushed so easily. I glared at my brother, but he and his wife just laughed. I couldn't let them do whatever they wanted. I didn't want to make our mother suffer anymore. So, I smiled and said, That's right. You guys can't give Mom a peaceful retirement. I'm happy to take care of her. Mom. I smiled at her to reassure her. Don't worry, Mom. I'm sorry to ask you to leave this house, but come to my house.
But what about your husband?
He said he was okay with living together before. But I thought it would be better if Michael lived with you. It's okay now, right? Let's live together as a family. It's time to repay you for raising us. I reached out my hand, and tears welled up in my mother's eyes.
Thank you, Nia.
Get out of here quickly, you can live in your rabbit hutch.
I glared at him, but he just laughed. Then we left our mother's home. My mother's personal belongings had decreased surprisingly. My brother's wife, who doesn't work, had sold them one after another. It's unbelievable. I should have picked her up earlier. Even though I regretted it, my brother's words, who has never seen my place of residence, hit me where it hurts. I looked at my mother apologetically. I'm sorry, Mom. I took you out on a whim. My apartment is really small, so it might be cramped. The apartment that matched the income of my husband and me was very small. We couldn't give each of our teenage children their own room. As I was wondering how to prepare my mother's room, my brother's words hit me.
Just so you know, Mom doesn't have a room anymore. This is our place now.
What? I was about to glare back at him, but my mother suddenly put her hand on mine.
It's okay.
Mom?
It's okay. Mia, let's live in a mansion together.
What? I wondered what she was talking about all of a sudden. As I looked bewildered, my mother smiled at my brother and his wife.
Thank you for everything. From now on, I'll be living with Mia's family in a mansion.
What?
My brother and his wife were also surprised. But my mother didn't explain anything and just said,
Goodbye.
and took my hand and walked away. I wonder what that was all about.
Humph, it's just sour grapes.
Or maybe she's finally lost it.
As I listened to my brother and his wife's voices, my mother and I headed home. 2 years later, our peaceful home was invaded by aliens. It was my brother and his wife who suddenly appeared. When I checked the monitor in a panic, I saw my brother and his wife. It had been a long time since I had seen them. I thought they were as bad as burglars. But when I opened the door, they rushed in. And the first thing he said was,
What's going on?
Hey, it's midnight. Don't yell. It's rude.
Shut up. Explain what's going on.
You're the one who's being loud. If you're quiet, I can explain it to you. He turned red when I gave him a logical answer. So, what is it? My brother pointed to the wall of the house and shouted.
What is this house?
It's just a house. In French, it's called a maison.
What is this mansion?
A mansion is a splendid house.
So what?
I was deliberately avoiding the question, but he was so frustrated that he scratched his head.
How did you build such a mansion with our mother's pension and your income? I'm broke and struggling for money. Help me out a little.
Yes, my family moved. We moved to a very large house. Compared to the previous apartment, it was definitely a rabbit hutch. That's right. We couldn't live in such a house with just our income. I said with a smile. Thank you, Michael.
What?
My brother was confused by my sudden gratitude. I said it again. Thank you so much.
What do you mean?
Thank you. Thank you for giving Mom to me. This house was built with her money.
What? Where did you get that kind of money? She was struggling to raise 3 children, and Mom has no savings or a decent pension. How did she?
From inheritance.
What?
Didn't you hear that our grandfather, Mom's father, was quite wealthy?
Oh, yeah. I think I remember hearing something like that.
So, Mom also received a considerable amount of inheritance.
That can't be right. We lived in poverty when we were kids, didn't we?
Mom had a grudge against our father who didn't pay child support. She refused to touch the inheritance, saying she would raise the children on her own strength. When I heard the amount, I was quite surprised. Despite having that much money, my mother chose to take the hard road. I respect her for that. She may have been poor, but I never felt like I was missing anything. She sent me to the school I wanted to go to and gave me a normal life. It's terrible how you treated our mother after all the hard work she did raising us. You kicked her out and now you're coming back? And at this time of night? Go home, I said, pointing outside. But my brother didn't move. Suddenly, my brother's wife appeared.
Hey, this house belongs to your mother, right? So it will be ours in the future, won't it?
What? I frowned at her sudden remark, and she snorted and looked down at me.
Of course. Even if you inherit it as a gift while your mother is still alive, we have the right to a share of the inheritance. So it will be partly ours.
She knows a lot about inheritance law. But I snorted back at her. I'm sorry to disappoint you. This house was given to me as a gift while my mother is still alive. The title is in my name.
What? You're doing something so selfish. Even if it's a gift, we have the right to a share of the inheritance. So you'll have to pay for it either way.
She doesn't work, but she knows about these things. There is some truth to Jennifer's argument. If my mother's assets are only this mansion, and if she gave it to me as a gift to avoid damaging my brother's inheritance, then my brother has a right to it too. My brother can claim his inheritance share from me, regardless of when the gift was given, after our mother's death. However, we did not punish my brother for anything. I showed them a paper that I had prepared for this situation. My husband brought it to me while we were talking. Good job, my darling. I'm impressed. This is a detailed list of Mom's assets, I said, showing them the paper.
What?
First of all, this house was given to me as a gift while Mom is still alive.
What?
And most of the remaining cash will go to my younger brother.
What?
And this is the last asset, I said, pointing to the item. Yes, it is the family home that my brother and his wife are currently occupying. You received it as a gift before Mom's death, right? Don't say you didn't receive it. Even though that house is old, it's in a great location and a really good property. You are the one who benefits the most, even more than the one who got this mansion and the cash. I was quite dissatisfied when the results came out, but there was nothing I could do. If this cuts ties with them, it's a cheap price to pay. My younger brother is also satisfied. Do you have any complaints now? I asked. I don't know how hard their life is, but I have no sympathy for my brother, who forced our mother out and took over the family home. It's frustrating, but I'll give the family home to you. Go home. This is the end of our relationship," I shouted. My brother and his wife were still standing there, looking confused and helpless. "What's going on? Do you still have something to say?" I glared at them.
No.
"What? What do you mean?"
The house is gone.
"What?"
Well, I did receive it as a gift before Mom's death. I went through the procedures and it's in my name now.
"What are you thinking?" "Well, I guess you made a lot of money, so it's okay. But I don't understand why you came to me in the middle of the night." I tilted my head as my brother and his wife turned pale in front of me.
Actually, all the money from selling the house was used to pay off debts.
"What? Huh? What do you mean?"
I tried to make a big comeback and invested in something.
Huh?
But the investment failed miserably.
Huh?
We sold the house to pay off the debt, but it's still not enough.
Huh?
What should we do?
How should I know? I was speechless. I heard that they sold the house and paid off the debt, but they ended up with nothing. They invested in something again, which was a huge failure. They were in debt and being chased by debt collectors, so they ran away in the middle of the night. That's why you came in the middle of the night.
Please, hide us. If you can, pay off our debt.
I can't hide you. It's your own fault, I said, trying to stop my brother and his wife from entering the house with my husband. But we couldn't stop them, and then we heard sirens.
What?
A police car siren could be heard, and it stopped in front of the house. My brother and his wife seemed to feel guilty and ran away. They were not only unable to pay off their debts, but they were also doing something illegal. Their behavior was suspicious. It was my mother who reported them. She had seen everything.
I wonder if I failed at raising him.
My mother muttered weakly. Afterwards, my brother called me once. It seems his wife had asked him for a divorce. I think that's only natural. Or maybe his wife no longer saw any value in him since she didn't want to work anymore. I thought it was strange that he only called to tell me about the divorce, especially since he didn't even tell me when he got married. As expected, it was a call asking for money. It seems that my former sister-in-law was also unusual. I don't know how my brother influenced her, but she started investing after the divorce because she didn't want to work. She boasted.
Unlike that man, I have foresight.
But she went bankrupt and was in debt. She begged my brother for help. You're an idiot. I don't want anything to do with you. My mother is gardening happily in the splendid garden of her new house today. She has also started to grow vegetables in a home garden, and my teenage children are happy to help with the harvest. My younger brother's family, who occasionally come to visit, can stay comfortably in our large house. I want to make a nice home for my mother's final residence so that she can be happy until the end. I think that's my way of repaying my mother.
How was this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.